It's The Perfect Union, the perfect podcast for the perfect country, brought to you by your perfect host, Hank Thompson, for you, the perfect listener. Hello, everybody. Perfect Union is the politics wing of Winners and Losers Enterprises and Apocalypse training courses. Don't forget to sign up for our upcoming class, Mohawks. Not just a great conversation starter, but a perfect way to intimidate rivals and attract mates. Learn tips on how to turn a hairdo into a hair don't fuck with me or I'll use your eyes for earrings. All right, guys. Hey, welcome to the show. This is our second episode this week, huh? What do you think? Yeah, that's right. Boris Johnson's clapping like a fucking seal for me doing all that. That's pretty impressive. I managed to get it together. Been busy as shit lately. Went out to the stores today. This is Hank, guys. Welcome to the show. Bit of a special episode today. I've got a guest, my brother. Most of this episode is him and I having a conversation about COVID. We've got some articles to talk about. Not a ton. We kind of check in with our lives, and he's my older brother. He's got a cool job. He's a professor of neuroscience, which is pretty damn impressive. And I was just excited to have like a science expert on. We talk about some corona stuff. He's not a virus expert, but he knows how to read science papers. His brain is very well conditioned to ingesting a lot of the science information, and he's been up to, paying attention to the coronavirus, obviously, and as well as he's a smart guy and a great guy, and he has bigger shoe size than I do, and I think that's genetic. Yeah, I blame my parents. I don't know why I'm jealous about that. Mine are 10.5. Cute. I have cute feet for my height. He has appropriate size 13s. So after we roll that, I'm going to come back with a couple quick things. But first, I don't know what I was going to talk about, but I went to the store today, made it out, did my whole process for getting ready to go. I bring my own bags with me, although I don't bring those into the store. I got my mask ready. I got my thing. I got what's the thing I'm saying there? I got the hand sanitizer, because I got this whole routine where I don't enter my car until I've done the hand sanitizer thing. And I have no idea if any of my precautions are working. I know that wearing a mask makes other people feel comfortable. Not that anybody's feeling comfortable these days. It's more of a sign of respect for others. Fogs up my glasses. Super annoying. Can't really do much about it other than take off my glasses, and I'm lucky my eyes aren't really that bad. So my trip to Target today for toilet paper was successful. My roommate and I will be poop-free until we run out of toilet paper, and then it'll be covered all over. Anyway. Weird though. I've been out 6-7 times, grocery store mainly, occasional run to McDonald's or something. Got to support the evil empire somehow. And today was depressing for some reason. It was kind of a cloudy, very white sky in LA. You'll get occasional smoggy white skies here, which are kind of gross. Although lately it's been clear mostly. Not that I look outside much, but today was kind of sad. I don't know what it was. Everybody felt, I think the heat makes it feel worse. It's not even that hot. I went out kind of early. There was a line. I've been to Target 4 times. And this is the first time I actually tried to get in because there was always a line. And I was like, fuck it, I got to go. Not that I was even out of toilet paper, but I wasn't like holding one in for a few days. But I don't know what it was. I wish I had a better read on it. I just feel some impulse. And my brother and I have already recorded our conversation. I mentioned this very briefly, so it's on my mind. Just things felt sad. You know what made it kind of sad? Target was playing fun music. It was surreal. Something felt, I don't know, they give you a cart when you walk in, you do the social distance 6 feet apart. Of course, when you walk by somebody close, you're like, oh boy, hold your breath. It's like, what, you just get in your head about what's the risks are and what risks you're willing to tolerate. And so, I don't know, there's just something about people and empty shelves that it's very jarring to my sensitive American Midwestern corn-fed upbringing, where there was always plentiful stuff on shelves. And it's not even the shelves, it's just that the normalness of it felt weird in contrast to this kind of like slightly too loud for 8:30 in the morning, kind of hip-hoppy, sort of dancey, corporate-friendly music that they were playing. I'm standing in line, checking out, thinking I should have bought some ibuprofen in case there's a run on that. I don't know. I have a bottle, about half of it, and maybe I'll need supplies for later. It's like we're gearing up for a video game kind of thing. It's like, oh, this might come in handy because I got a boss fight later. I got to better get that sword and rub the special oil on it that gives me plus 5% against Trump. I don't know. And you're weighing these options, and all your decisions feel very confined. Nah, I don't know if that's the right word, but you're just sort of in it. You're just here and present, and you know that. And I don't know if others pick up on this, but I just feel like everybody is tired. I just get the sense that people are tired, and I don't know. I mean, maybe the masks they're disconnecting us from seeing faces, live faces. So we're all socially isolated. We see faces on our video screens all the time. Some of us live with people. Some of us talk to our neighbors, maybe without masks, probably without. There's probably a lot of non-mask interactions going on. But when you're really isolated and the world has become kind of the same familiar color schemes and pixels, it's kind of like you're staring at the same couple of programs all the time. And you go out and you don't see anybody's mouth or nose or barely their eyes. And everybody's hair is getting longer and looking shabby, which is funny. But it just felt off and sad and kind of depressed. And I didn't absorb the depression. I didn't wake up my own native depression. I got more than enough of that to deal with. But it was just a strange trip out. And I was glad to get some of this crap that I bought. Why did I feel? Oh, that's right. I was standing in line, waiting to get out, and they're playing Riders on the Storm by the Doors, a song I really enjoy, but it was like a remixed, dancey, hip-hoppy, corporate version of it. And then there was like a beat in the middle, or I don't know. It just felt so weird. Like if all we had to do was crank up the electricity static on the fluorescent lighting above. Maybe in post, just drop down all the warmth, just bring it down to straight cold, make it a very blue scenario, and you're just standing at Target listening to this shit and just trying to avoid dying or hurting someone else with your own carelessness, and just wondering how much longer this is going to go on, and it's going to go on a lot longer. So I don't know. There's something weird about it. Then I almost got caught by a red light, like a camera thing. I think I made it through, but that's another stress bomb. When you don't have a lot of money, because the tickets are almost $500. I think I made it into the intersection on time. I've had closer calls and I've never gotten one, so I'm pretty sure I'm okay. But fuck, $500 expense is not within my budget right now. I hope they were suspending enforcement of that. All right, wow, okay. This is obviously just a podcast, just an excuse for me to ramble about my own bullshit. But let's before I get back to doing that, let's listen to me and my brother talk. I haven't edited it yet. I think we talked over an hour. I believe we went quite a while. And it was good stuff. He's a smart guy, intelligent dude, and it's good to get a real, true ass scientist. That's what his business card says. Real true ass scientist. Follow him on Twitter, Afferent Input, Afferent AFFERENT, I think _input. It's a science word, something to do with brains. And man, he knows brains. This guy knows brains better than you know who. So without any further ado. And I'm probably going to say the exact same thing in just a second. Please join me in welcoming Professor, Hank's brother, Chris Thompson. Okay, welcome everybody. Join me in welcoming Dr. Chris. Chris, what's your last name?
It's Thompson.
Oh, wow.
That
is pretty common. You and I share something in common, isn't it? Don't we?
We both exited the same womb.
Man, okay. God, I emailed you to not remind me of traumatizing experiences. So.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, if just like Jeb Bush, when we were both born, we looked up and looked at our mom and thought we are the luckiest man ever to be born. Do you remember when he?
I won the lottery when I was born 63 years ago and looked up and I saw my mom.
Come on. Yeah. I mean, no one, you haven't seen other moms by then. You don't know if you're lucky. You gotta go meet all the other moms first.
Right. That's kind of like the car dealership and buying the first car that you test drive, right?
Yeah. But also if you were 0 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, great to have you on the show. This is a new segment. We're building out our offering here at Winners and Losers HQ, Perfect Union, the home of rambly maniac politics. So, but I want to introduce you. You actually appeared on Suck Professor, my YouTube channel, for a discussion a while back about one of our fucking shows we were doing.
Yeah. What?
Yeah,
which I watch now, and it's excellent.
Yeah, you're enjoying Westworld, are you?
Yeah, very good. Although I haven't started the third season yet.
Okay, well, check out the me and my roommate are doing reviews and podcasts about Westworld this year. So anyway, whatever. That's not why you're on the show. You're my brother, my older brother, and you are a professional scientist.
I am, yeah. Some might call me a professor as a profession.
You're what's the opposite of sucking?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're a blow professor.
I'm a blow professor.
Which, on the real world terms, is the same thing. But you're a neuroscientist. Can we say what school you teach at?
Sure, yeah. So I'm at the Virginia Tech, which is in Southwest Virginia. It's the land-grant institution for the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Oh, right.
I'm in the School of Neuroscience there.
Neuroscience.
Correct.
That's so great. I always tell people that I have a neuroscience professor brother. So
How does that work?
Well, that probably buys me a few extra minutes of their time before they notify the authorities. Yeah, it's fantastic. You're I don't know what else to say, but we're going to talk about COVID and talk about life in the quarantine a little bit here.
A little out of my expertise. I don't work on infectious diseases, but I became very obsessed with coronavirus and COVID epidemic when it was first emerging early in February, and I've read an awful lot about it.
Sure. Yeah. Great. Well, I think even though it's not your expertise, but you've spent decades reading scientific papers and you understand scientific words, terminology. I think a lot of any kind of sciencey story where people have to are confronted with lexicon or words out of their own lexicon, like science words, basically. I look at one of those abstract sheets and I just my eyes gloss over. I don't know what the hell's going on with most of that stuff.
Right.
I think anyway. But
and a lot that translates in the science world, even though I have this particular subfield. When we talk about statistics, all scientists know how to talk about the statistics in a way that the public can't understand. And
like there are people, the profession of science communicator is sort of like a bridge between the science world and us regular plebes.
Yeah,
but exactly. I think largely we could do a lot better in terms of communicating science and for people to understand and appreciate the contribution of science beyond the vague notion that it's a bit more of a rigorous way of analyzing the world than religion or whatever we substitute religion with, which is generally in America seems to be patriotism and nationalism and just like kind of confidence in a sense. Yeah. I think celebrity culture is a bit of a religion in America, but that's not sure why I'm bringing that up. So hopefully we can help people understand stuff a little bit more from a scientific perspective.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're not like a lot of scientists who are just complete dunderheaded idiots when it comes to talking.
I think I'm probably better than average.
I know it's weird. It's so weird. You shouldn't confirm that. Very intelligent folks. We God bless them. What the fuck's wrong? Okay, so first, before we get to the stories that we've picked out, we're going to talk about testing, basically, and false positives, and if that's a thing or not. You're going to explain it better than I will. How are you? How are you?
Yeah.
How's the family?
So
you first.
Here has two very handsome athletic nephews. Those are my sons.
Mm-hmm. They're my sons.
They're not. Hey, wait a minute.
Those are my sons.
We have something else in common.
I'll take over. If you don't fuck them up, I'll adopt them when they're like 24, and then I can just have
no promises there. They started fucked up.
Well, I'll need people to help beat up other men, and I need men in their 20s to fight my wars.
A lot of parents, we are doing homeschooling now. I didn't think I would be a homeschool parent, but I am now. And so today we talked about 1-point perspective and drawing cubes and other geometric shapes from a 1-point perspective.
Wow. Which grade is that for? Which one?
Fourth grade.
Fourth grade. Damn.
Yeah.
Great.
So I'm doing, things are fine. It's
Hey,
yeah.
easy with whatever you're touching, because your mic is picking up everything you're doing.
Yeah, so it's been fine. We have been quarantining, and so my lab has closed down, and I have in my lab we have frogs, and we have to take care of the frogs. So we go in 3 times a week to take care of the frogs, and that's about it. We're trying to do stuff at home, writing papers and doing research at home, but it's kind of hard.
So sounds pretty standard. I mean, everybody's had to adjust, right, to changing. Although I've been mostly living at home and being sort of a shut-in video editor weirdo. My life isn't much different. Just my anxiety is less lonely. But you're one thing I hope on the other side of this is that the world slows down a little bit. Like, I don't know if the academic world or the scientific world is the same, but I think that just the rush to produce as much profit and as much growth as possible is killing the planet and killing people that are doing the work by overworking them. And but you can't necessarily downshift that quickly. But are you finding that this is forcing your I don't want to say workplace, I guess it's a workplace, are you guys like, are expectations reduced a little bit? I would hope so.
So, I mean, expectations had to reduce some, just because no one can maintain what was happening before.
Right.
So it's been an adjustment of expectations because of missed goals and failure.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been a carefully thought out thing.
Right. Well, no one's ever done it before, so you're going to stumble over things you've never done before.
Yeah. I've seen that with everything that I've had to interact with from my house since this has started. Yeah.
What's been the hardest part? I would bet it's having kids around.
No, they're the apples of my eyes.
No, I don't.
Shoving apples in my eyes.
Yeah.
No.
They're the acidic.
I mean, a lot of it's hard. It's hard to pick any one thing. Very hard to maintain doing anything and being productive career-wise when there's all the stuff that has to be taken care of at home, especially with the schooling.
Yeah.
So that's been really intense. Yeah.
Right. Like, not only are you now working from home even if it's a slightly reduced expectation load, you also have a massively increased homeschooling. Like, millions of parents are suddenly homeschooling their own children. And I bet every school district has its own kind of, template for how they interact with the internet and sending stuff to kids, right? So it's different all over the country, I'm betting. Does that sound right to you?
That's my understanding. Yeah. Like, every place is going to be different.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. From what I've seen, though, man, the parenting problem in terms of just energy, and is this sustainable for parents to work who are also working all the time too and trying to make money, is extremely challenging. I think of major there's like numerous slow burning fires occurring all at the same time right now, and I think one of them is mental health. And I'm just so glad I don't have kids. Thank fucking God I didn't make that mistake. Only idiots reproduce. Like the virus is such a good reproduction. But tell me about that. Well, I mean, what do you think? Not maybe your own experience, but others or whatever.
Oh, no, definitely. I think the health is something that's going to, certainly is a big problem now. I can, even from a personal point, I'm dealing with things that I hadn't dealt with before the crisis. And my students are also suffering. And those are the people that I've interacted with. And of course, I've read reports about that mental health has been a big issue across the country. So this is going to do a lot of damage for sure.
Yeah. And people have, go ahead.
What is it? 30 million people unemployed now?
30 million people have registered for unemployment, I believe.
So there are a lot more beyond that. That's right.
Yeah. Far beyond that.
Exactly. So, and this is well beyond, in just a matter of 6 weeks, than all the jobs that were lost during the Great Recession.
Right. I think the peak job like 1 week increase in job loss was like 780,000 or something around 800,000.
That was the greatest 1 week drop.
Yeah.
Of course, it lasted for 3 or 4 years where there were job losses. And you add up the total under the curve, I think it was about 16 or 17 million jobs that were lost during that time. So we're almost double there in a matter of 6 weeks compared to a loss of jobs over 3 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And we don't... Go ahead, finish your thought.
I was going to say, the impact that that's going to have, I mean, it's going to be huge impact.
Yeah.
From now.
It's pretty weird. Yeah.
I don't know it's going to be months from now. It's going to be pretty bad.
Yeah. Different coping skills, right? So everybody deals with stress in different ways. They have their own unique circumstances at home or whatever. And so, but that means there's a variety of breaking points and thresholds where people tip over into either self-destructive behaviors or they withdraw or who knows how they're going to respond. So hopefully people are looking out for each other,
Yeah.
Give each other masks and hand jobs and stuff and make everybody feel better. Yeah. Sorry. Don't know why I let that part come out loud. All right. I just want to keep talking about crap, but let's get to the stories. I do actually I can check in on your other shit later on. If you come back, if you don't.
I'm done coming back.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I gotta do something, man.
What?
I gotta do something.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like
a pleasant diversion.
Right. Oh, good. All right, cool. So the first story that we're going to talk about here is it's a headline from the Washington Post. You sent me this article. It says antibody tests show we're nowhere near herd immunity.
Yep. This came out. This was published just last night, this morning.
Well, today is Thursday. We're recording on Thursday afternoon for people who don't know what last night might be. So this is April 30th. So I'll just read the first couple paragraphs. And then you can jump in and you can interrupt or whatever. You can tell me what your takeaway or what jumped out about this article. And I have a couple other paragraphs to show too. So starting out here, in contrast with tests for active infection, these tests detect. Wait a minute, I fucked this up. Oh, God damn it. Hold on, just hang on here. It's okay. I'll fix this. And
yeah, I know.
Can you see the screen share? Is this the first one?
I can see it. It looks like you duplicated.
No, I didn't duplicate. Oh, I did. Yeah, I got the top here. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me. All right. So Okay. So here's the first couple paragraphs. A wave of preliminary result of antibody tests is adding to our understanding of how the novel coronavirus is moving through the American population. But there are reasons to be cautious about interpreting the findings. In contrast with tests for active infection, these tests detect antibodies the body creates after someone has been infected with the virus. So they should identify people who got sick and recovered from the disease COVID-19 or who carried the virus but had no symptoms. In recent weeks, in separate studies, researchers have announced that roughly 2.5 to 4% of residents in Santa Clara County, California, 3 to 6% in Los Angeles County, 6% in Miami-Dade County, and 14% across New York State have been infected at some point by the coronavirus. That last study estimated that as many as 1 in 5 residents of New York City had been infected. But to caution, though, part of the point of this article is that those numbers might not be accurate. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, so there's some well, I don't want to say assumptions, but there's a point of caution with any of these results. When you hear those results of 14% of New York State residents have been infected with SARS-CoV-2 at some point. I still am not fully convinced that all of these antibody tests have been completely validated. So there's a ton of these antibody tests that are going out from companies. The federal government, the FDA, when they started the infection test, which is a PCR test to look to see if you're actually infected at the time. So this is the thing that they were trying to develop in February. They were restricting companies from making their own tests. They wanted to create their own tests that they were going to send out to companies and clinics nationwide, but they screwed up that test.
Yeah.
That test that got screwed up.
Well, it was like like they just had the wrong parts or some chemicals.
So some of the issues were the chemicals were unavailable at the clinics. But another issue that they had is that when they designed the test, you have these primers that are used. So these are little tiny sequences of DNA, of bits of DNA, nucleic acids. And the way they designed one of the primers, it would create false positives.
I see.
So it was very unreliable because of the way they designed one of the primers. It was really messed up. And most PCR scientists who use these techniques, they would have caught that, but the federal government didn't for whatever reason.
Well, we've chosen people who don't believe in competency, and one of their core offerings is that the government is the problem, which is a tenet of Republican and conservative
mistakes happen. I think the government could have been better about working with, say, the South Koreans or other countries or companies in trying to develop a bunch of different tests instead of them trying to just develop one.
Yeah.
That said, I can also see the reason why they would want one test, because then you're going to have this standard that's used across the country, and instead of having someone else develop a faulty test, right? So there's also that too. Anyway,
sure.
The government decided to go the opposite direction here. Instead of having too much control over the testing, now they've offered no control whatsoever. So they've just said, companies, develop tests, do whatever you need to do, and just send them out and start selling them. So now there are dozens of companies selling these antibody tests. I know
sounds
for
like
a fact,
a pretty good market opportunity for us.
Great marketing opportunity.
Yeah,
So,
there's death, and when you're surrounded by death, there's always money to be made.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the American way.
There was one study that came out a few days ago that looked at 14 of these tests, and 8 of them were really unreliable, and there were only 3 that seemed to be within the tolerances of being a reliable test out of 14 commercially available tests.
Of different tests, 14 different
ones.
Not
of coronavirus serology tests.
But not all from the same company, I mean.
No, they're all from different companies.
Different companies. Okay. Yeah.
So,
all right. So the PCR testing has been a giant mess.
Yeah, I mean, that's now worked out. Now the amount of testing that we're able to do across the country still is insufficient.
Yeah.
But the ability to test for coronavirus, that actually has been fine.
Well, yeah, it's possible to test for it reliably, but
they've developed, yes. And that when you hear about a confirmed test from PCR, in general, you can believe that that's probably a true positive instead of being a false positive.
Okay. Sure. And that's the number that we've seen, like over 1 million confirmed cases in the United States.
Those are confirmed cases that now we have in the United States, well over. The antibody tests, they're a bit different.
Before you go on, just so people know, antibody means that you're immune to it, right?
Well, antibody is a protein that the immune system makes to grab onto other proteins such as viral particles.
Okay.
And it helps destroy the virus. So that's what the antibody is.
But once you've been exposed to the virus, your immune system responds. If you survive it, you should have antibodies remaining in your system. That's what we call immunity. Then I'm sure it's more complicated.
That's basically it.
Yeah. So to say, because that's one of the big questions is are people who get it immune after that? We haven't confirmed that, or it hasn't been. I mean, the hope and the assumption is that we are. But
but it's still important to try to find out what % of the population has developed immunity. So whether they have antibodies against SARS-CoV-2 or not. There are a few problems with this, though. The antibodies that are being developed, if they haven't been fully validated, it could be that these antibodies that test for antibodies. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about here. So the companies are making antibodies that will bind to the antibody that we're trying to find.
Okay.
That's SARS-CoV-2 positive. Now, the problem is there are other coronaviruses. There's 6 that we know of that infect humans. The original SARS and MERS are 2 of them. And then there's 4 of them that just cause the colds.
Well, that would be 7 then.
Well, then there's 7, yes.
Yeah.
If you count SARS-CoV-2.
Okay.
Yes. So there's 6 other ones, I should say.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah.
That there's 4 that are just out there that we just live with. That's the
They
cold
call-
or the flu.
No, that's not the flu. That's,
Okay.
they cause cold symptoms.
Hmm.
Yeah. So part of the problem is that if someone has been recently infected with one of those coronaviruses that just cause a cold, they likely have antibodies against that particular virus. We don't know in some of these tests the degree to which they're specific for SARS-CoV-2, the one that causes COVID-19, or if they're just going to pick up any antibody that helps fight against coronavirus just in general.
Okay.
So that's one problem with some of these studies, potentially. The Santa Clara study is the one that I've looked into the most.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm totally convinced in the way that they showed that it has specificity.
You're not, or you are?
Not.
All right.
There's some problems with that study anyway. It's been pretty well trounced by the scientific community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that because is it coming from like bad faith operators, or they just scientists that just were they missed some detail that they weren't aware of? Like, what kind of accounts for it being poorly done?
So that particular study had some selection bias that got built into the way that they were picking.
I know. Viennese divorcees.
Yes, exactly.
like Freud. That's a classic Freud joke. We're big on Freud jokes over here.
No, I mean the way they found people to give blood in Santa Clara County was by advertising on Facebook.
Great.
So they did from Facebook, and they built in some things that were good, right? So they were looking across Santa Clara County, and they were going to have limits to where they would pick from which regions within the county. So because like you could imagine some places in a Facebook circle, oh look, the university here is going to be doing a whole bunch of testing. So they all share it in one group, and all these people who say maybe we're in a cluster of coronavirus infections, that little part of Santa Clara County, maybe they would go in and donate blood, but then they're trying to extrapolate it for the entire county. Right? You see where the misbalance could come in.
Yeah.
Of having a subset that isn't truly uniform across the entire county.
Right.
Now they try to build in some things to keep it uniform. So they limited like how many people they would take from certain zip codes. But statisticians have looked at their distribution, and it doesn't make sense. Like there's a lot of assumptions built into the model that they had developed that discounts how the population would be distributed across the counties, across the whole county.
Okay.
So that was one problem. But the other thing about getting to the false positives, what they did is, so one way to test this, right? So SARS-CoV-2 is brand new. It came to the United States probably in January. So it would make sense that blood that was taken from patients before January, say from 2019 or 2018, they would be negative for SARS-CoV-2. Right. So they did test blood samples that they had from SARS-CoV-2 to look to see if the samples from 2019 and 2018 had positive results. And you would expect 0 because it didn't exist in humans at that time.
It's like Google Trends. It's like, when does this word show up? Yeah.
And when it shows up, then it shows up, and you don't see it before that.
Yeah.
So that's the right thing to do. But they looked at 30 samples, and in their study, they found the positive rate to be about 4%. So of all the blood samples that they looked at, they found about 4% of the people that donated blood was positive for SARS-CoV-2.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the problem with that is that if you're only looking at 30 blood samples, what is 4% of 30? It's like 2?
Well, 1% would be 0.3.
Yeah.
So 1.2. 0.3 times 4.
Yes, it's less than 2.
Yeah.
So you're looking for potentially one positive test. If the distribution is exactly the same in the old blood as it is the new blood, you're looking for one positive test out of 30, and the chances of you getting 1 or 2 positive tests out of 30 is pretty small.
It's a small sample size. Is that
okay? Right. When you're looking for 4% of something, you need to have a big number to make sure that you don't have anything close to 4%.
Right.
Right. So if they looked at 1,000 samples and they found 0, that would be very, very convincing.
Yeah.
When they looked at 30 and they found 0, I think that's okay, but it could be 30 samples of people that just weren't infected with coronavirus at some point.
Right.
In the previous few months.
Yeah. Yeah. And hotspots crop up and set in. Yeah. Okay.
So that, I don't know, that's getting into the weeds, but
no, the weeds are good. What do you, so the overall critique, it's not so much that one study was like a massive problem. It's just more that the challenges of researching this. Is that kind of what you're pointing out?
So what that study implied, and the authors of that study, they wrote an opinion piece in the Wall Street Journal.
Mm-hmm.
It's also kind of unusual because they wrote that opinion piece before anyone had even looked at the study.
Right.
Those authors, what they were saying is that, okay, if the rates of infection in Santa Clara County are as high as we think it is, 4 to 6%, that, and the fatality rate that we're seeing in Santa Clara County, that suggests that the fatality rate is only 0.1%,
mm-hmm.
which is about what the fatality rate of influenza is. And so what they were saying is that, you know what, this whole stay-at-home order, social distancing, this is going overboard for this disease.
Right. That if we're not shutting down for the influenza, why are we shutting down for this if it's killing at the same rate?
The problem with them assuming that, or even suggesting that the death rate of infection, the infection fatality rate, IFR, is 0.1%. In New York City, there have been 20,000 deaths, something like that.
It's pretty big.
It's really high. If the disease really is killing 1.1% of everyone who gets it, that would mean in New York City, every single person in New York City has been infected.
So here, I'm going to read from this Washington Post article. This is exactly what you're saying. So it says, it's unclear that this estimate will hold up to further scrutiny. Notably, if the fatality rate were truly only 0.1%, that implies that all 8 million people in New York City have already been infected, which seems unlikely. That supposition is also contradicted by the New York antibody test results, which suggest that fatality rates there are closer to 0.5 or 1%. But even if the California numbers are accurate, then in no way warrant a conclusion that shutdowns were an overreaction. Okay.
Yep.
Right. So the fatality rate is very important. We want to understand that. Like we want accurate data. And
accurate number.
Yeah.
Because if it is 1%, then what are we socially distancing for? But if it is 1%, I mean, that doesn't sound like a lot, but that's 10 times deadlier than the flu. Then we got to do something about it.
Yeah. I mean, 1%, and especially if the strategy is like what Britain first tried, and I don't know if they still are, but like if they go for herd immunity, where they just say, okay, let's just let everybody get it, and we're okay with 1% of everybody dying, that's 3 million people. Right. If we use 300 million as the American population. So you're just okay with killing 1 million or 3 million people, which is incredibly callous and heartless and completely unsurprising coming from the conservative side of the spectrum, because their worldview is basically, fuck you, I got mine. That's my.
Have you heard about results out of Sweden?
Yeah, I was actually reading an article about that this morning. Yeah, that they're like 6 times the death rate of their neighbors, or like they're very like laissez-faire about the whole approach.
Yeah,
strange.
They have taken the herd immunity approach.
Yeah.
They haven't really tried. They have not officially shut down things. And yes, their fatality rate is much higher than Norway, which did stay-at-home orders. And the other thing, though, that about Sweden. So the argument is, if we want to do the herd immunity approach, the benefit there is then the economy doesn't take as much of a hit. Right? So we're leaving the economy the way it is. but unfortunately more people are going to die and grandmas are going to be dead. Okay. But the economy gets to go on.
Yeah.
But in Sweden, they are suffering as well. So people are going to do what they're going to do. If they see a bunch of people dying around them, they're not going to go out to restaurants, not going to go to movies. The people going to, like, movie theaters are open in Sweden, but no one's going to them. Restaurants, no one's going to restaurants. And in fact, their economy has been hit even harder than the United States. So they've seen a bigger drop in GDP than the United States has over the same period.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah, I think what's happening is that people in Sweden, I mean, it's a very well developed country. They're intelligent. They're very international. They can see what's going on around the world and also what's happening in Sweden.
Yeah, they have the internet and they speak English.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're like, I'm not going to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of surprising.
They're quarantining and doing social distancing on their own, even though the government hasn't pushed it.
Yeah.
But even then, it still resulted in a death rate that's 6 times higher than Norway.
Right. Yeah. And they have a healthcare system in I don't know the specifics exactly, but I could confidently say it's better than America, that their social safety net, their unemployment programs, and their healthcare system are got to be way better than America. I mean, you can just assume that about just about any country except the moon, which belongs to America. What if like Buzz Armstrong believed he owned the moon or something like that? That'd be funny.
Like where?
Yeah, him and Neil Armstrong hated each other because they were having a property dispute. So, all right, well, that's fascinating stuff. So we're going to learn about the antibody. So let's talk about this Korea, because we don't want the Zoom meeting to shut down. Not that we can't do another one. Yeah, right. This fucking Zoom. Are you tired of all the Zoom meetings? Is it driving you nuts like it is me?
Yeah,
I've only had like 3.
Yeah, I've had quite a few.
I mean, I get it. I get why people want to see people they like or know. But why do you have to do a video for just talking to somebody? Okay, anyway, I yelled about that for like 10 minutes last episode. So, all right, let's jump ahead to story out of the Korea Herald. This is from April 29th. Headline, tests in recovered patients found false positives, not reinfections, experts say. So this is sort of more granular about what a false positive means. Is that fair? So
yeah,
I'll read from the article here. South Korea's infectious disease experts said Thursday that dead virus fragments were the likely cause of over 260 people here testing positive again for the novel coronavirus days and even weeks after marking full recoveries. So people who had it, then they didn't, and then 260 people got tested again, and then it showed that they had it. But that might be a false positive. Oh boy, here's a name. Oh Myung-don, nailed it, who leads the Central Clinic Committee for Emerging Disease Control, said the committee members found little reason to believe that those cases could be COVID-19 reinfections or reactivations, which would have made global efforts to contain the virus much more daunting. That's true. A couple more paragraphs. He went on to explain that in PCR tests, or polymerase chain reaction tests used for COVID-19 diagnosis, genetic materials of the virus amplified during testing, whether it is from a live virus or just from fragments of dead virus cells that can take months to clear from recovered patients. The PCR tests cannot distinguish whether the virus is alive or dead, he added, and this can lead to false positives. All right, now you talk.
Yep.
Your turn.
So the virus has a fatty coat at the outside of it with some proteins on it as well.
That's what I have.
Yeah, you got a fatty coat with some proteins on.
Yeah, I've been doing push-ups and I've been gaining weight.
Yeah,
it's nice.
So it's a lot like that.
Yeah.
On the inside,
Go ahead. I know I can't.
So on the inside, this virus uses RNA as its genetic material. Not DNA, it's RNA. A lot of viruses are RNA based.
Some are DNA too.
Yeah, so there are some viruses that are DNA, so that means that it has 2 strands of the AGCTs, and
just say Gattaca. It's fine.
Yeah, Gattacas. Yeah. And RNA viruses have just a single strand.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's RNA on the inside. PCR, or polymerase chain reaction tests, as you said. This is the test that I was talking about that's used for diagnosis of infections that are generally going to give you very good positive results. And true positives and not as a very high likelihood of false positives.
Okay.
At least as far as the nature of the way the test goes, it's very specific for identifying the sequence of the RNA of the virus.
So it's actually looking at the GCTA sequence.
Exactly.
Like, okay.
And it's looking at it in two places within the RNA genome, and those two places have to be in the right place so that you can get a product that gets made. So it'll continue to make it will amplify the sequence that's there, and then amplify that same sequence over and over and over again. That's the polymerase chain reaction. It's a chain reaction using this protein called polymerase that causes the little sequence that we're looking for that's going to be specific to coronavirus and not influenza or salmonella or human beings or birds or whatever, right? It's going to be specific to coronavirus RNA and amplify that part, right?
So
it's pretty specific.
The humans introduce the polymerase.
Yes.
I'm saying it like you are saying it. Polymerase. The humans add polymerase, and that stimulates the chain reaction, which so they duplicate it a bunch of times, which makes it able to be detected.
That says, hey, this sample had coronavirus in it, and if there's a sample that had no coronavirus RNA in it, it's not going to match. So you're not getting a positive result.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so getting false positives is pretty unlikely.
Yeah.
What this Korean study is saying is that they found in 290 patients
60.
Sorry, they still had, or 260. Yeah, you're right. But they had they showed positive results, even though they had been cleared before. And what probably is happening in these people is that they're finding bits and pieces of the virus. So the virus isn't there doing any damage, but it's somehow staying in the system, and they're still able to pick up the bits and pieces of the virus that are still hanging around.
So is that pretty common? Is that something you know about in terms of, I know that in some nutrition studies, not that I've studied anything, but articles and whatnot I've read, they talk about organelles, which are parts of cells that are the metaphor I came up with to think about it is like the packaging of an auto part. Like it's kind of like pieces of it that just sort of remain floating around, right? That didn't make any sense. I know that didn't make. Yeah. I'm talking about fasting in terms of intermittent fasting and fasting and stuff like that. Yeah, organelles. Autophagy is the process discovered in 2016, or at least it won the Nobel Prize in one of those Nobel things. The Nobel Prize in big words in 2016, where during fasting your body starts to clear out the organelles that are left over, and it's actually a good way to kind of clean up your muscles, basically.
That's right. Yeah.
Tissues, but
I'm
not sure the metaphor translates.
Clear out waste. And that brings up a good point, because our body is filled with processes to remove waste products. Yeah. So this, I do find it a little bit surprising that they're ascribing it to just dead virus that's staying in the body. Because if the virus is dead, I would think that it would be cleared by the body pretty quickly. But I don't know. That's out of my area of expertise.
Right.
So I cannot tell for sure. Gotcha. They're speculating that it's just fragments of dead virus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the article says that can take months to clear. So.
Yes.
Right. Well.
But I find that hard to believe.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. Nothing's hard to believe for me. I just believe whatever the fuck I read. I don't care.
Dead virus. Yeah, I just can't imagine that virus hanging around for months.
Sure, but maybe it's one of those, the fatty bits on the outside, the corona part of it. That's why it's called corona, right? Because it looks like the shape, like the sort of cartoon drawings, the artist illustrations we see everywhere. Those are not accurate per se, but they do reflect that there's a sort of there's two primary components: the center RNA bit and then the kind of like outer layer of the fatty stuff, the fatty globule.
Well, the little bits that you're seeing on those little drawings, those are actually like proteins that are attached to the fatty bubble below.
Okay.
You can't see the RNA part. That's on the inside.
Oh, the RNA is inside the fatty bubble.
Yes.
All right. Getting a little turned on.
All cells have a fatty bubble.
Yeah. Sure.
Our cells have a fatty bubble that holds everything in. That's the cell wall. It's made of fats.
Right.
Yeah.
Cholesterol is like a big part of nerve creation, right? Isn't that true? Like cholesterol has been demonized so much. It's kind of a misunderstanding. I mean, it plays a very vital role in proper cell function.
Plays a role in all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Including making all kinds of hormones.
Oh yeah. All right. All right, so now we're going to look at some numbers. This is just sort of a website. Crap, I forgot to put the URL. I'll put it up on screen when I post it on YouTube. But there's a lot of these great data and map number or websites that sort of show the charts and keep track of all the information. And well, first, Chris, how accurate? I know that there's a million reasons why these numbers might not be really accurate. The way deaths are reported. I think in America, the numbers are probably drastically underreported just because we're such a country run by a bunch of inept bozos who have political motivations that are, I've heard stuff about nursing home deaths have spiked, and those aren't necessarily being included in the numbers. Right. They're wheeling out corpses constantly, more than the usual flow of dead bodies out of nursing homes, because there's really only one way out of a nursing home, a quiet ambulance. And, so how accurate is this stuff? Is it it's the best we got, I guess?
So yeah, that's actually part of what the Washington Post article was getting at that we were talking about earlier. That there clearly are a lot more people that are infected than we think that there are.
Yeah. Okay. I think you and we talked about it. I think I had it in January, and you might have had it, right?
I think I may have had it, but I don't know. I did get tested, and it came back negative.
Oh, you did? You got tested?
Did get tested. So I have some colleagues who are setting up testing here at Virginia Tech, and they needed samples. And since I was so sick, I did have pneumonia for sure. They took a sample from me, and they decided, and they ran it and tested it, and they came back negative.
Good. Were you disappointed? Were you like, we kind of hoping you had it?
I actually, so at that point, I was getting better. Yeah. So I wished that I did have it, because I was going to feel better. So then that would mean that I was done with it, because I didn't have pneumonia, and I'm prone to getting pneumonia. I have kind of a mild asthma that I have, and I have allergies, so I'm respiratory sensitive. Mm-hmm. And since it was clear that I was going to live at that point when I got tested, I was like, okay, well, I hope I have it so that I'll be done. But that's negative.
Oh man. Well, I'll go down to the airport here in LA, and I'll rub a rag against a bunch of hand railings and then mail it to you. You can achieve your dream.
Hey, we have coronavirus here in Virginia.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so then, did you have more to say about the numbers being accurate?
So definitely numbers. When we see this number of 1 million infected, those are positive tests that have come out using this PCR technique. Mm-hmm. But the serology, so that's analyzing people's blood to look for antibodies to see if they had ever been infected at all. That's indicating that there probably are quite a few more people out there who actually have been infected. And it's probably on the order of 5 times more than the positive tests that we've already had, or maybe as much as 10 times.
Okay.
A lot, no doubt.
I've heard that I don't have any confidence in the source of this. I just remember hearing that if like 1% of the country gets it, that's like a tipping point for containment or something. Have you heard anything about that? Or are there, just in sort of a statistical human modeling kind of sense, not any hard and fast rule?
Assumptions that are built into that, because it would depend on where.
Yeah.
It's now all over the country, so there's no containing. I think that there's a lot of assumptions built into that. Regardless, the serology tests are indicating that we're already past 1% for sure.
Okay.
people that have been infected. And it's probably more like 3% of the country has been infected.
Wow.
That's just 3%.
Meaning what? And with this much death for 3% only, or
3% of people who have been infected.
Right.
So the numbers of deaths that we had. So what are we up to today? 65,000, I think. It's a lot.
Yeah, we're already past one Vietnam.
Past one Vietnam. Although that's American deaths.
I know. Yeah, And I actually had a guy on his podcast years back, and he pointed out, he goes, in Vietnam, they don't call it the Vietnam War. They call it the War of American or something. Like they have some term that shows it was actually an invasion by a gigantic hostile empire. It wasn't the Vietnam War, as if they were deserving of our presence in some way. Yeah. That Ken Burns documentary about that, man, it's just like watching evidence of a fucking crime. The leaders knew that it was a lost cause way before they escalated it. And they were just pumping young bodies into this wood chipper. These fucking, sorry, I'm getting angry. I get very upset that we don't get to murder people who kill millions of people. I think we should, like, I'm not big on the death penalty, but I think war crimes, I'm probably against the death penalty for that too, but.
Between Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, 2 million people were killed.
Chinese people too. Yeah. It's fucking just, ugh.
The other thing is that the United States dropped more bombs during Vietnam than all the bombs that were dropped in World War II.
Yeah. I'm aware of that, but not as much as during my comedy career.
That's true.
I sort of said stand-up comedy career. All right. So these numbers aren't great. Or sorry. Okay. Let's get a little focused.
5,000. These are confirmed cases.
Yeah.
These are people who died, and we had a test that showed that they had SARS-CoV-2 when they died.
Yeah.
So and when you hear people talk about like, oh, well, we have a bad flu season, and 60,000 people that die, and that's true, but those are not confirmed cases. Those numbers that we hear about, oh, the flu season killed 25,000 people this year, or no, it was a bad season, it killed 60,000 people. Those are estimates that are made months after the flu season, when they go back and look at the surge in deaths that happens during flu season, and they make a model and they make an estimate based on how many people were actually showing up with flu cases, how many people that we know had confirmed flu cases and died, and then they just make an estimate based on that.
Okay.
It's based on a lot of good science, and it probably is around 60,000 people die, but that is done long after.
Yeah.
So that you were just talking about, and so that's the thing. Like, there are people who die in nursing homes from the flu, and we have no idea that they actually had the flu when they died. They had pneumonia and that's it, or they had a heart attack and that was it. Or we don't know why they died.
Those are the comorbidities that are exasperated by
but the flu was part of that, and that's how they figure that out later.
I see. Yeah.
And we haven't done that for COVID-19 yet.
Say that again. I think your audio got
for COVID-19 yet.
One more time.
We haven't done that.
Okay.
That figuring out later, because we're not later yet. We're in the middle of it.
I see. Okay. Gotcha now. I'm getting occasional dropped audio. I think it's something.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Soon.
Yeah.
So we have not gone back and figured out exactly how many people, because we're in the middle of it. We can't figure it out until we're past all of this.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, not that this is relevant to what you just said, but the flu is something we have vaccines for and delivery systems for. Not to say that that's perfectly executed in any way. Definitely America's culture of wait till you're about to die before you go to the emergency room. People don't go to the doctor here. Those of us who don't have insurance, or even those with insurance, associate stress and financial pain with any kind of interaction with the medical industry. So, but the flu, is the flu vaccine free? Is that right? I've never had the flu shot. It's one of the more accessible things in America. Yeah.
In general, like if you have insurance, it's free.
Yeah.
If you don't have insurance, it's very cheap.
Right.
And there probably are places you can find to get it where it's free.
Yeah. Yeah. But a universal, comprehensive, properly funded, free at point of use healthcare system would change things, like culturally. Like and that would take a couple generations for people to get used to the idea that it's okay to go to a doctor when you feel sick.
So, but my point is that that at this point, we already know that the death rate has gone up quite a bit, that there's a lot of unexplained deaths.
Yeah.
That we don't have confirmed SARS-CoV-2 infections for those people that have died.
Yeah.
We've seen this in New York. We see it in nursing homes. We saw it in Italy. Any place where there's been like a huge surge in confirmed infections, there's this surge in unexplained deaths. And this has been true across the entire world, not just in the United States. It's not a United States particular phenomenon. This is just something that happens in pandemics.
Are there reporting requirements for death? I mean, like,
yes.
One thing societies do is they write stuff down.
But
like,
it varies on a like a county level or a locality level. So from state to state, it's going to be different. And within a state, different counties are going to report it differently. There's some counties that don't report on deaths and don't make it public months later.
Yeah.
I know about this. So they're better at collecting all of these data.
Yeah.
But the United States,
no, not so much. In Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis has made it. I haven't really looked into it too closely, but I've seen headlines about how they're no longer letting morgues report these deaths, at least not via the traditional method, because it becomes public information. And so that's what's so gross about this situation we're in, is that like the politicization of this is exasperating all the issues, because you've got these numbnuts like Mike Pence walking around without a mask because he doesn't want to appear weak to his, smooth brain base. And you got all these, whatever the fuck these people think they're doing. I mean, they're acting rationally within a set of their own incentives, but their incentives are all political and they're all largely bullshit, particularly on the right, although there's certainly no shortage of it on the left either, too. But it's horrifying. So these numbers we're about to see, anyway, let's just get through this real quick and I'll let you get back to waiting for tomorrow or whatever the hell you were doing. Educating your children and educating everybody else's children. Like you teach, is it hard teaching smart people? Would you ever just want to be one of these like 5th grade teachers that teaches like, kids that got kicked by a horse?
No.
No offense to the horse.
Teaching at the college level.
Yeah. Well, you teach PhD, like you teach PhD students.
I mean, yeah, sure.
What's the breakdown? Do you do undergrad, graduate?
I teach mostly undergraduates.
Oh, okay.
But there are classes I teach where there are PhD students or students who are trying to earn their PhDs. Yeah.
Okay. Are you one of the guys? Remember when you were getting your PhD and you had to like defend your thesis?
Yeah. So
do you get to sit on the other side of that now?
I do. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's that feel? Is that weird?
Well, I haven't. We've had plenty of meetings. I haven't been at a defense yet.
Oh, okay.
Because I haven't been here long enough.
Oh, okay. But it'll happen someday.
Yeah.
And then you'll think, I was there once. I know what it's like doing what you're doing there, kid.
Yep.
That's fun. Good for you. Yep. The oppressee has become the oppressor. Well done.
Let's see. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So we're getting back to the number.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead. I resent power. That's my people can figure out. I hate people having power over others, even though I understand in some cases. Go ahead. Go.
The question is like how many unexplained deaths are there? Because we have the confirmed deaths, 65,000 in the United States confirmed deaths of COVID-19. I mean, I've been trying to follow the unexplained deaths and the undercounts last couple of weeks. And I think the consensus is getting at that it's probably at least double of what we're thinking it is. It probably means in the United States that there's actually been around 100 to 120,000 deaths of COVID-19 already.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with that is maybe not all these people died of COVID-19. This has been very disruptive. Some of these people, they may not be going to the hospital when they feel like their chest is bothering them a little bit, and that maybe they would get it checked out and then they die of a heart attack.
Right.
So that likely is going to be the case for some of these unexplained deaths. That there's going to be some diseases, cancers, suicides, and although that's not entirely unexplained, but heart attacks, those kinds of things, stroke. The incidence of these may be going up. That has nothing to do with COVID-19, although we do have a good indication that COVID-19, especially in relatively young people, might be increasing chances of stroke and heart attack.
Yeah.
People just from that.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, and that those may be missed cases.
Sure. But if they detect a rise in young people, like people in their 30s generally don't have strokes. So if suddenly there's a bump in that data, you can assume it's probably related. Or, I mean, I know there's ways of statistical analysis and stuff.
So, but death rate has gone up in the United States, and not all of it has been specifically shown to be COVID-19 confirmed cases.
Right.
There's probably about double that.
Yeah, and that's been part of the political volleyball game that goes on, where those generally from the right, they want to make it seem like that number is low and that this is all an overreaction, and they want to blame it. The economic devastation is worse than the cure, than the actual virus. Dr. Phil, who I covered on this show, the last episode, was talking about poverty kills. We got to deal with poverty kills more people than So that's bullshit. I mean, if you think poverty is such a cause of death, then why are you for politicians and policies that maintain poverty? We could cure poverty. There's more than enough money to cure poverty easily.
In that rant of his, he also said that
swimming pools.
Yeah, swimming pools. 360,000 people die of swimming pools every year in the States.
Yeah, I actually showed that in this, and I found an article saying it's actually closer to 3.6 thousand a year, but that's 10 a day, and that might even be high though. I think.
Well, we don't socially distance because of that.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. First of all, you're wrong by a factor of 100. Second of all, you don't catch drowning by being around people.
I mean, you can if you're a bad swimmer and you're trying to rescue, but it's not. You've never been at a party where some dumb drunk lout falls in and then like 10 people also die. My mom died of drowning. Oh no, what happened? Well, some guy died near her of drowning, and then she died of drowning. It's contagious,
That way, Dr. Phil.
Yes. It's gross, and of course, our society rewards people like him with millions and millions and millions of dollars and nothing but luxury and status. So, all right, let's do these numbers, and then you'll probably have more to point out about this stuff. So we're looking at here at a map of Korea just for fun. Let's go blur it up. Total confirmed cases. This is as of April 30th, 2020, 10,765. And that's important for people to know. And I imagine these details are all going to become more accurate as time goes on. So this might change, but it's been reported widely and seems to be accepted that the United States and Korea both had their first confirmed case on the same day. And sort of basically kind of starting at the same time from the starting line. Yeah. And as a means of sort of showing what a society that has a quite effective, good response, using all sorts of techniques and the number one being competent government, versus a society that embraces incompetence, which is what America does. And we are not as collective in our mindset as South Korea is, or Asian countries in general. And our case is much worse. So they've got 10,000 confirmed. They've got 247 total deaths. That's just like Wednesday afternoon in New York, or probably more than that. I mean, we're averaging something like 2,000 something a day. The peak day, I think, was close to 5,000 people died. And these are the official reported numbers. Not that I'm citing them accurately, but as you just said, the numbers are probably almost double that, maybe. There's certainly more. We can assume that.
That's right. Sure.
So, and then we've got this chart here, which shows the total number of confirmed cases over time. So it climbs up somewhere, mid-February. It starts climbing. They had a nice little spike. Government swooped into action. The people responded, and they've been able to keep this flat. This isn't quite the same as the flattening the curve charts that we see.
So this is a cumulative chart, right? It can only go up from here because these are confirmed cases.
Yes, it won't. Yeah, it's just not supposed to climb down because this is not a rate. This is a accumulation. So that's very interesting, and to see what's going on in Korea there. So let's do a little animation. And then the United States. This is a familiar homeland. We all love and adore the place, America. Of course, every map you see of the United States these days looks like the opening 4 minutes of a disaster movie, where the CNN anchor is saying, "Oh, Wolf Blitzer, shit's fucked up," and then the map is, blipping to life with hot spots and red dots and stuff like this. So horrifying. It's just horrifying to see all of it. But anyway, so America, blur it, boom, 1,067,289 confirmed cases. What was Korea's number? 10,000. What is that, Chris? Do the math on that one.
Yeah, that's a lot more.
Come on, you're a math guy. You're the math genius.
Well, it's 1,057,000 more.
Yeah. Well, it's 1%, right? 10,000, right? Yeah. So we've got more people. Okay. Scale that, factor in the population difference. I don't know what the population of Korea is. I think it's like, I'm making this up. I don't know. It's probably 60. Let's ask Siri here. Siri, my friend Google. I just typed the word Google into Google. Siri, population of Korea. This is terrible content, by the way. I know that. 51.64 million. Italy, just by comparison, is 60.48 million. North Korea is 25.5 million. All right, so back to the map here. So America has 1,067,000. Total deaths 62,870. That's more than the American deaths in Vietnam. This I think, to me, I look at this as a crime against humanity. I really think that politicians need to be held accountable for this shit and for failing to do what was predicted, what they could have done. Yeah. It's just utterly gobsmacking that we live in a country where the leadership is actively using politics to prioritize their decision making, which is getting people killed demonstrably. And we don't burn down the fucking place, Like in France, they raise the bus fares and they go on riots. And all right, anyway, that's my soapbox part. So here's the chart. We're enjoying this. This is didn't even start climbing till after mid-March. What would explain that? Yeah,
well, lack of testing could be part of that.
Yeah, what else would it be? It's not like it was here later. And we're all a bunch of slobs.
To be fair, Korea did import a number of cases, and they had that weird cult that a good chunk of all of their positive cases was found in this weird cult where they got infected very, very quickly. There were thousands of people infected in this wacky cult that refused to do social distancing, and there was one person who was a super spreader there who infected the hundreds of people. So that's part of it.
Sure. Yeah. And we've got
so fast
a similar problem, the Trump cult.
Yeah,
the GOP base generally, at least the ones who whatever. Okay. But this line doesn't seem to be curving at all to flatten. And so as people who aren't seeing the visual of us, for the audio listeners, as we get through the end of April, which is where we are now, it's kind of just like a 45-degree angle straight up. And so I think it'd be good if we look at them side by side. Little animation there, boom. If you see the two, 247 deaths on one side and 62,870 on the other. It's just astonishing.
The numbers are striking for sure.
Yeah. So,
and you can see it hit Korea earlier, right? Mm-hmm. That's what's going. And like you said, it went up very early in February, and then the Koreans reacted very quickly, and then it just went flat. So the number of new cases in Korea has just been very low since mid-February.
Right.
Where in the United States, we dithered. And then in March, we decided it had to start testing, and then our cases have just gone up and up and up.
Up and up and up. And one of the things that this side-by-side comparison that is important to point out, and you could do a better job at this because you're a professor and I'm just some jagoff with a podcast, is the Y scale, the vertical part, right? People will often, or graphs will often be presented next to each other, and it actually almost looks like they have a worse problem there in a way. But if you look a little closer at the numbers on the left of each chart, the top of the Korean chart is 12,000, right? I'm circling it with my mouse pointer. The top of the American chart is 1.2 million. So we're way off scale if we have these images at the same size. Anything you want to say? Like, I mean, this is a pretty common thing that people see and then they misunderstand.
Exactly. Like having it at the same size here, it does allow us to see the nature of how the infection spread, like when it spread, and like how Korea has flattened their curve, whereas the United States has not.
Yeah.
But like you said, the scale is the thing that's off. So it makes it look like Korea is much worse than it actually is because the scale is off.
Another thing, just for people looking at charts and scales too, sometimes is either the X or the Y axis. They'll put big jumps into it too, where it's like at the second one from the top will be like 1 million, and then it'll jump to 5 million, and like they'll sort of monkey with that, like in like news and stuff, and not in scientific analysis. There was actually, I remember, a chart of Michael Bloomberg spending, and CNN didn't properly scale it, so the true scale showed how much bigger it was compared to all the other candidates spending, far worse than it actually was. And anyway, so what we did, Chris and I here, before we hit the record button, is a very rough way of showing the scale difference. So we're going to shrink down the Korean chart, and it's going to fly over to the American one right there. Now, this is super rough, and it's not accurate or anything, but I tried to hit about 10,000. In fact, I think it's quite high. It's probably too high.
Big.
Where that one is. So actually here, let's lower it. You can see it going down. Yeah. So somewhere around Korea's peak cases is somewhere in that range, right? 10, because it's 0.5% of this first row.
Yeah.
Which is just
that first tick mark is 200,000.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
And Korea peaked at 10,000, or at least that's where they're at right now, is 10,000.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's just 5% of the first tick mark.
Yeah, I said 0.5. I was way off. But yeah, 5% of the first tick mark is where the Korean peak is. So we are off and running. We've got the Trump bump, and the Biden plagues are probably going to be a little bit better managed, but we're still going to have Joe Biden plagues to deal with. So that's something to look forward to. Capitalism will prevent him from instituting the kind of policies we actually need to, run the society in a sane way. So anyway,
I do want to add, I think one difference that why Korea maybe responded as quickly as they did, I do think that the original SARS epidemic made a big difference, because it did hit Korea to some degree, and it was very big in China. Right, most of the cases were in China or in Asia anyway, and so that experience, probably shook them to some degree, and they knew that this was going to be happening at some point.
They did a bunch of pandemic, I think in December this year, it was November or December, they did like a pandemic kind of test run. You know how like the United States will like drive their boats around a bunch and be like, we're having a war test to see what it's like, and just burn a bunch of fuel. They did that with pandemic. And so they sort of had a dress rehearsal recently. And but precisely because of that SARS outbreak that they had to deal with. And it was pretty tough on them. There's lots of different factors, but it's an interesting case here. If the United States really were truly such a magnificent, perfect country, which we like to insist that we are, our leadership at least likes to lie to us that we are, I don't think these two charts should look comparable, but they don't.
Nope. No, they don't.
Yep. Good times.
Yes.
Wow. It's pretty sad. I hate it. Like it's enraging.
Yeah.
So we're talking about okay, all right. I can scream and yell about what is this like, just like when we were kids. Do you remember when we dissected a mouse on that blue plate with a fork and a knife, and then I had that blue plate in college?
I remember.
was like a really tough plastic. It was a great plate. Yeah.
Good for sections and good for frozen burritos.
Frozen burritos and chopping up mice. I think her parents were. I think mom was around. Would you if you caught two of your children? Well, you only have two.
Oh, she didn't see that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we did it in the living room.
Yeah, but she didn't.
It's not like we crawled under a bed and chopped up a mouse. That's even worse.
No, we did it in a sensible place, the living room.
Yeah. I literally remember using a chair. Like we sat our butts on the floor and used a chair. Yeah. The chair that faced the TV, one of those, whatever. Well, how would you react if you found your two boys?
I'd join.
Yeah. I guess it depends on how much they're laughing.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah, so how much blood is smeared on their faces too.
Yeah. if they're inventing a language and wearing feather earrings or something fucked up. Yeah. Yeah. Like if you go see your penis doctor, you just don't want them to laugh or smile. You just be very serious. I want a serious penis doctor. How annoying would that be? A smiling penis doctor? Come on. I'm not here for this. If I want that, I got plenty of people to go to. All right. That was inappropriate. So, all right. Anything else you want to add?
I mean, I'm happy to come back and talk more. Yeah, we covered quite a bit.
For sure.
Yeah. So,
okay.
As topics come up, we should definitely touch base. Well, I mean, what do you, how many, so, Trump's, he said that, we're going to have somewhere between 60 to 100,000, right? That's what he was estimating, right? That it could have been as high as 2 million.
So he was hammering away at 1.6 to 2.2 million, and he kept saying 2.2 million. That's his con man trick. Just repeat stuff. This was like a month and a half ago,
right? And then play with the expectations. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And so setting it up the expectation that if only 200,000 died, that'd be a success. And they've been shifting that goalpost very effectively. And I don't understand why people go along with that. It's inexcusable.
Yeah.
It's just so crazy. I really do believe that a major portion of this country just don't have the imagination, if that's even the right word, to picture a society that doesn't behave this way.
No.
That actually holds its leaders accountable. Like South Korea did when their leader did hold some corruption move and they fucking protested until they arrested her. Threw her in prison. So, and that was over something very minor. That's just business as usual in America. I need to look into that, actually. I'm a little ignorant about it. No, but thank you very much. I'd love to have you back for sure. You did an okay job on this audition. I've got a couple of other brothers to talk to later on to see if they can fit.
And your Rolodex.
Hey, do you think of yourself as a millennial?
No. I always have thought of myself as Gen X.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm on the cusp.
I'm on the cusp. You're not. You're almost 2 years older than me. I'm actually. Yeah, I'm much closer to the cusp than you are.
You are. You're like right on the cusp.
Yeah, I think is it 1980 is the cutoff?
So yeah,
I think I've heard that. But so I'm like 40 days off of 19. I'm still born in the 70s. Yeah. I used to think it was cool to be born in the 70s, and now I'm just like, I don't even want anybody to know that my president was Jimmy Carter. It's not cool anymore. No. We have a grandpa. Sorry, this is random sides. That's what my listeners are used to. The guy I named after, Great Grandpa Henry, and he was born in 1893. And you remember? You know that, right? You confirm it. But like when we would hear that, we would think, "Oh my God, that's a million years ago. That's a whole other century." And then you and I are both born in 1970 something, and we're already 20 years into a whole nother century, and it's only going to get worse.
Yes.
Yep.
Time creeps on.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely normal. What are you going to do? You don't get to pick when you're born. All right. Well, are you on Twitter or anything like that? Do you have anything you want to plug or some shit?
Yes, I have a lab Twitter.
Okay.
Thompson Lab 2.
Nice.
I haven't really checked in lately.
Okay.
I have my own personal Twitter that I fart around with and fight with people online.
Yeah. Why do you post GIFs so much?
Because it draws attention. to the comment.
I know, but you're not old. You're too old for gifts.
Huh?
You're too old for gifts. You shouldn't be doing that.
I think it's smart marketing.
No, I know. You got kids, though, too. That's partially.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I got to keep cool with the kids. That's why.
Yeah. It's funny, like, old fogey stuff used to be like, yeah, brush your teeth with asbestos. Works every time, you know. And then my old fart stuff is like, I think I'm too old to use GIFs. Like, it just feels weird. I don't know. That Buffy the Vampire Slayer video or GIF of her stabbing a vampire.
GIF can really sell a tweet.
Do you have your Twitter on autoplay?
I do.
That's
I
it.
Probably turn it off because it is annoying.
Well, if you turn off autoplay, the GIFs will change meaning. They become something you have to activate, like it is for me. So when I see GIFs, I just scroll past them. I don't really give a shit unless, I mean, I will occasionally click on it, but I'm more enticed by the opening frame. But if it's on autoplay, I think the emotional experience is a little bit, or just the way that your mind ingests it is different because it's already playing. See?
What I find with Twitter, the problem with that forum, that kind of format, is everyone talks about the blue. We're getting really diverted here, but
yeah, it's fine.
Right, the blue check people who have been confirmed, they get all the attention, and I think that there's probably some truth to that. But so people will look intuitively for that. Oh, that's a blue check, right?
Yeah.
So the other thing, but when you comment on someone's comment, you never know what other people are seeing. They're going to see something totally different. You're going to show up in a completely different way because there's an algorithm that I don't quite fully understand that Twitter uses to show you people's comments that of a comment,
right,
of a tweet.
Yeah.
And so those subtweets, it's easy to just get lost in there. And if you're going to tweet something out, you want people to actually read it and see it. So I will put a GIF in it to emphasize.
Oh, you called it a GIF, huh?
GIF. I actually call it GIF.
Yeah.
I can't even refer to it as GIF.
Well, isn't somebody who created it said it's one of the two, and that's what people say. Oh, it's actually this.
Yeah.
I literally don't care. I think I like GIF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like GIF. I like peanut butter.
Yeah. I like GIF because I like gifts.
God.
That's why Christmas is my favorite holiday, because I love presents. I fucking hate Christmas.
I like gifts.
I'm so anti-capital. Everything that rings of capitalism, I'm just like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Even me, I'm trying to sell poop stools on Etsy, and eventually I'm almost done with the bench. And even I already hate myself for trying to make money. It's become a problem. What kind of asshole makes money?
Yeah.
No. All right, great. No wonder I have a weird relationship with money. Okay. Chris, it's been fantastic. Do you make your students call you professor?
Yes. I insist upon it.
Do you like explode in rage? Oh, all right. That's too bad. I would. You want me to write some jokes for you? I got a great one about horse dicks.
Oh God.
It's really good.
Is there anything about the neuroscience of horse dicks that you can include?
They do have a second brain.
Ah.
Yeah. Mine. Get it? Humans are in charge of animals. I made that up. I don't think it's okay.
I was thinking because the horse dick is so big that it would have to have its own brain.
Yeah. Like a brontosaurus.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, precisely. Hey, did all dinosaurs have feathers?
No.
Yeah. Darn it.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun to think of them as wearing clothes. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I can't. This is honestly like social interactions. So it's
we'll talk about that next time.
Yeah. I've been talking to my shrimp tanks. Great. Well, thanks for explaining all this stuff. Hope everybody looks you up on Twitter. Oh, Afferent Input is your Twitter.
Yes. Afferent_input.
Yeah. That's how you know you're smart. You show some shit that nobody can spell. Well, the second word is spellable, but cool. Thank you. Give my sons a big, wet, virus-laden kiss. Don't you have dogs too?
Yeah, we got 2 dogs.
Yeah. That's fun. All right.
Work.
Yeah, dude. It's crazy. It's a weird ass time to be alive. I went out this morning and it was fucking it just felt depressing out. I mean, I usually feel depressed wherever I am, but like it was like this world is just sort of depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Went to Target,
Yeah. Going around and seeing everyone in, like half the people in masks, and half people not, and
yeah. I feel bad for the people who have to work and wear the mask all day long, let alone the healthcare workers are the ones putting up with most of the problems. But cashier has to wear a mask for 8 hours. It's brutal.
Right. Yep, I totally agree.
All right. Okay, man, this is it. Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
All right, welcome back. How'd you like that? Was that okay? Let me know in the comments. Tweet my brother at afferent input, AFFERENT _input. So good guy, does science and shit. And sometimes he posts GIFs, as you probably heard. So we're gonna do more guests. This is also a practice thing. You don't book Neil deGrasse Tyson for your first interview. You know what I mean? You don't do that. You book my brother. Famous for being the first interview on every podcast. That's his trick. No, I don't know. Good fella. Man, it's weird growing old. Well, he's going to die before me, or I'm going to die before him. And my other brother, he's going to die before, we're all going to die before each other. And then one of us is going to be the last one. And that's, guy's going to have a lot of VCRs. So it's a strange thing. I hope it's me, because I love VCR. No, I don't. It's just so weird to getting old, Yeah. All right. Well, so a couple of quick things here real fast, just because I had them prepared in the old pre-production workflow that I've been developing. I want to talk about models. This is Trump. As you know, this is a few weeks back already. Actually, whoa, this is about 10 years ago, April 3rd, 2020. I think that was more like 95 years ago. No, it was 10 seconds ago. I think it might have been a million years back. Actually, no, it was about 20 minutes ago. I can't. When is anything? Where, when is space-time completely broken? It feels like something's gone awry. I'm sensing a very serious disturbance in the force. Okay? That's what's happening. No, it's because we all have to fucking participate in the manic energy, the narcissistic, bizarre energy of the fucking maniacs who run this world, not just Trump. Okay, so illustrating the point, this is one of these press conferences where Trump and his lackeys stand out there, and a few of these people have real professional degrees, like this Dr. Birx lady and that Fauci fella. But, it's a weird position for any of them to be in. And, when you pick a president, you pick your best. You put your best forward, and they do what they do to make us all happy and safe and proud. And here's Trump doing just that.
By the way, the models show hundreds of thousands of people are going to die. You know what I want to do? I want to come way under the models. The professionals did the models. I was never involved in a model.
So what do you think he's going to say now? I know you've heard this already, but what would you expect a guy in the middle of a pandemic where at this point, what was it, 20-something, 30-something thousand people dead, early April, whatever the number is? What's the appropriate thing to say when you're talking about models? A concept he just learned, that they can simulate scenarios using various factors and tweak the factors in order to try to learn things and predict things. What's he going to say?
But at least this kind of a model.
At least this kind of a model. He's got to get with this kind of model. He's never done these kind of models, but he's been with some other models. He paid his fucking wife to move here. I'm sure that they had a completely consensual and non-transactionary relationship at all. I'm sure there was no money or promises exchanged. How come no one ever asked about that? Hey, Mr. President, what the fuck's up with your fucked up marriage? By the way, it's a beautiful thing. Hey, man, gross old disgusting heap of shit falls in love with the model in her 30s or whatever. Okay, free country. So ridiculous. Come on. It's fine when older people, fine. Okay. It gets weird. Shit's weird. Things are weird. We got to get back to this. I want this to be the weirdest thing about the world should be that people of very great different ages will date each other sometimes. Like I think there's a spoiler. I'm going to take that back. Sorry. I'll bleep it. So we'll go one more time with the model joke. He's making a joke just because he... Here we go. I'm just going to hit play.
The professionals did the models. I was never involved in a model, but at least this kind of a model. But you know what?
Yeah. Maybe you could tell that at some of the funerals that he's going to attend. Oh, he hasn't done that. Maybe he could tweet it out. That'd be fun. One of the 62,000 people in the world right now, or families, who's lost somebody. Ooh, maybe one of the nurses whose job it is to help a dying person FaceTime with their family, who's probably in the waiting room or at home, perhaps. They know they can't see their loved one while they're choking on their own lung tissue. I bet they would like the model joke. What if that's the last thing you heard before you died? This fucking asshole saying. I mean, it takes a lot to offend me. I'm not even offended. Man, I don't know. Am I? I can't tell. Fuck this. I mean, come on, dude. Just be the apprentice guy and the asshole who calls into Fox News. That's all this dude ever had to be. A country that would do nothing but make tons of leeway for a life of crime like he's led, instead of putting him in prison where he belongs. There's arguments against prison, by the way. But instead of doing that, we've rewarded him with billions of dollars, luxury, and ultimate power. So, this guy, let's give him nukes. Give that guy nukes. Let's see what he says after this, though. I'm sure it's a bunch of nonsense.
Hundreds of thousands of people. They say, I want much less than that.
I don't want 90,000. I want less than that. Somewhere in the 70. 70 would be good. Yeah, I think 70 is good. You know, I'm 70. I think. I don't know. I can't tell anymore.
I want none.
Oh, he just realized he fucked up. He wants none. Oh, that sounds bad. Less than 100,000. Like, what's he talking about? The gun problem? We're just all okay with 25 to 40,000 gun deaths every year. Almost swore. I stopped myself from swearing, guys. Progress is possible. Here we go.
But it's too late for that. But I want very few people relative to what the models are saying. Those are projections.
This animatronic weird gesturing he does. So annoying. And then Mike Pence is sitting there watching this, right? If you're watching this on the YouTube show, Pence is right behind him, behind his right shoulder, standing there, just looking like the grim-faced guy who fired the Crypt Keeper's mom. This guy is just such a piece of shit. He's such a phony. He's such a phony. Next episode, we'll probably talk about the mask thing. I didn't think it was much of a deal when I first saw it, but then I had some thoughts about it, and I made a couple notes. Oh, you got that to look forward to. So here's Pence. Just a little look at him. Just kind of keep your eyes on.
I was never involved in a model, but at least this kind of a model. But you know what?
Just dead-eyed. One quick blink. He doesn't even react. Kind of hoping for that. But he is so used to that. He is performing. He is on stage right now. This Pence, you know, I mean, like it's maintaining this facade of like calmness and collectedness, and like it really is his job. And it's kind of like that Key and Peele sketch where, I know I'm gonna probably sound racist somehow here. I don't, but the Obama translator, where Keegan Michael Key performs in a kind of an exaggerated black persona after Obama says something to the country. Pence is kind of like the calming, reassuring, and I'm using like not actually using those words, but like that's the role, the face he's projecting to white people. Like it's sort of like a reverse. I don't want to say that the Keegan Michael Key's character, black guy, is like the Trump here, but you understand what I'm saying though? It's like his presence there is, you know, when you're on stage, something any performer should understand. It's like someone's looking at you, whether you're the one talking or not. You are being looked at. If in a group scenario, stand up, most people are looking at you usually, unless you're really bad. But he does that. Like he just stands there and projects this what conservative voters think is something. I don't know. And I think that was kind of what came out with the not wearing a mask at the Mayo Clinic. All right, that's good enough for that one. I fucking, you know, how long is this shit supposed to be? So one quick thing, just because I had a couple screenshots already, I wanted to show and kind of just ramble about this bullshit where we call people by their former jobs. Vice President, here's a screenshot of Al Gore talking to Joe Biden. Al Gore has like a built-in television framed very closely into like a masonry kind of stacked up wall of stone and a big ass flower on a nice looking table. He's rich, super rich. Anyway, Biden's got a flag of his dead son, the one that they put on his coffin in the background, because he wants to, respect his dead child by using the flag from his coffin as a prop to get him elected so that he can fulfill the dreams of preventing you from having health care, because that makes health insurance executives slightly more wealthy. So he's got his son's flag coffin there, right, as a prop for that. That's the kind of person Joe Biden is. But anyway, the thing they do, and this happens all the time, and the journalists will do this to these people, it's sort of a suck-up move, and there's something about this that I think is a small detail, probably low on the list of stuff we need to change, but just it kind of illustrates the way America reveres its leaders when they don't deserve it. I don't think even if they did a good job, but they call them by their former titles. Like on screen here, it says Vice President Joe Biden and Vice President Al Gore. Neither of them are the vice president. We just looked at the vice president. Mike. That's his nickname. These guys are not vice president. Al Gore has not been a vice president since 1999. Actually, I guess technically 2001, really, if you did go up to the inauguration. And Biden hasn't been vice president for 4 years. But we still call him that. I still see Speaker Gingrich. I don't know what last year it was, but it's been like 10, 20, 30 years or something. 20-something years, probably. Upper teens. And I just think this is just a bullshit way that our country... Let's look at another example here. Here he is talking to Clinton. Hillary Clinton. Vice President Joe Biden and Secretary Hillary Rodham Clinton. What is she the secretary of? She used to be the Secretary of State. She's not. She's not the current Secretary of State. Mike Pompeo. And I'm not even saying that as if I'm offended on behalf of Mike Pompeo. Nobody thinks that they're stealing glory in that sense, but it's just ridiculous. I don't know why we do that. What job title of yours would you like? I caddied when I was a teenage kid. Call me Caddy Hank. Yeah, Caddy Hank. It's probably the highest status job I've had, by the way. I was an honor caddy eventually. One time I got this nice guy, good, sometimes they're just sort of quiet. The quiet ones are good because you just don't do your job, but occasional dicks, but sometimes they're just kind of cool, whatever, nice dudes. When you're caddying here. And we finished. It was my first time with the dude. I did a decent job, and he goes up to my caddy guy. I think they called him the caddy master. And he goes, I was a B caddy at the time because it went from B to A to honor. I was an A caddy. He goes, and he gave me a nice tip too before this. And I just happened to overhear this part. He goes, he's only an A caddy? He's the second best caddy I've ever had. It's like, second best? I mean, it's nice. Silver. It's not bad. Better than bronze. But like, what did he? Who's this number one? And where can I read his newsletter or her newsletter? I want to know this number one. It's haunted me my whole life. Anyway, Caddy Hank has a lot to say. This just bothers me. I just wanted to end this with that. I just don't know what else to say about it. I'm not sure how to fix it. We could call them Mr., Mrs., or Miss, or something like that. They don't have a male miss, do they? There's no married or unmarried. Men are misters. But women are married or unmarried. They get a different word. All right, that's just a nonsense aside. So, all good. So, anyway, that's the end of the episode. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it. And I hope everybody out there is taking care of themselves and looking after each other and washing your long, nasty hair. Wash that long, nasty hair. You got to. It's all frizzy and shit, looking terrible. You got your roots come out. Nobody's got any shiny hair anymore. It's okay, just embrace it. Let's go with matte. Go matte hair. We don't need to be shiny. That's just big shine trying to sell you something. You think our ancestors had shiny hair? Well, probably. They were all fucking did keto and fucked constantly. But they were just a bunch of camping swingers. They had a great time. Of course they had shiny hair. They're all getting laid. Even the dumb ones like me. Back hair is weird. All right. Okay, guys. Take care. Have a good night. Have a good day. Have a good luck. Come back and listen to me again. Bye-bye.